yes. Oh, you know what that means? In the Paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese preseason testing part 2. Bahrain part 1. We go back again next week for round 3 of testing, but some good, some bad. Interesting couple days, to be dead honest. But we both have some things to say about it. About
interesting indeed.
We are caffeinated. We are medicated. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, as we are gearing up closer and closer and closer every single day to the beginning of the Formula One 2026 season. It is getting more and more interesting. I don't know if these preseason testing, whether it be in Bahrain or Barcelona, as we're now calling it, the Barcelona blackout, where, really didn't get as much information as we would have liked or potentially could have gotten if we had more access overall in Barcelona. We go to Bahrain, and I think we realize why. A lot of issues in the turns for a lot of teams, getting slower times in the turns. A lot of really what's looking like, and Max Verstappen was beyond incensed about this, saying it's going to be about battery power and conserving energy, and that's what 2026 is going to be all about. And so it seems like it's a different style of driving. Ferrari was turning heads. Could we be in the Lewis Hamilton's classic second year with the team for the third time? His second year with McLaren, his second year with Mercedes, and maybe his second season with Ferrari. He'll take home that title. So a lot of interesting stuff to get into, especially in the top 4, McLaren, Mercedes,
Pump the goddamn
Red
brakes
Bull,
there.
and Ferrari.
Pump them brakes. Pump those brakes. Get out of here.
I'm just going over facts, sir. Just giving you facts.
Pump the brakes.
Is it a fact that Lewis Hamilton's second year with McLaren, he won a title?
Yes.
Is it a fact that second year with Mercedes, he won the title?
Yes.
Is it the fact that this is the second year Lewis Hamilton's with Ferrari?
Yes.
So that's all I can say. I'm not wearing the tinfoil hat yet. I haven't made the hat. We're gonna make it for the season for damn sure.
I gotta get one too.
But I don't got it on yet. But I don't think it's tinfoil hat to say Lewis Hamilton's got a shot at the 2026 season.
I mean,
Ferrari's
looked pretty damn decent. Especially reliability wise. I think they've run the most miles or kilometers or most laps overall between the two tests here in Bahrain and then in Barcelona. Max Verstappen is right. There's a massive. That's going to be. It's almost like Formula E on steroids. There's got to be changes made. I don't know if you saw the video that was going around about. I think it was Nico Hülkenberg in the Audi going down the front straight, coming out of the final quarter, having charged the battery up, and then he didn't even get 3/4 of the way down the straight at Bahrain. And the battery was out. The RPM level is dropping in the engine, so they're not getting the higher speed that they have. It's going to be just managing your battery. I mean, Lewis Hamilton said you're going to have to do a lift and coast during quali laps to build it. I don't know if you saw what Fernando Alonso, he came out and said it's absolutely rubbish. They've basically taken away a lot of what the driver actually is to the car. He's not a driver anymore. He's more of a manager. There's going to have to be changes made, and I think this also might make within the next, few years, or they might even bump it up earlier, going back to, say, a V8. Getting rid of the hybrid, getting rid of the battery, going back to, sustainable fuel V8. Give me that high scream and roar that we all miss from Formula One. I mean, this might actually push it back to that, because looks like it's going to be a bit of a disaster with the powertrains.
I think
it's
got
also
more of
a lot of teams are getting caught out.
To be honest, I think this might lead to a V10 in
V10 or a
2027.
V8. If you give me a full one of those engines and give me 15,000 RPMs, give me that roar and that scream that a Formula One car is known for, and that every damn Formula One fan loves. You hear that noise flipping through your YouTube when you're going through YouTube and you see an old video, and it's like, remember the V8 sound, and you hear that noise, and you're like, yes, 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 yes. And this 50-50 split, it doesn't look good right now. They're going to have to make some type of adjustments here because you can't be 3/4 of the way down a straightaway and run out of juice. That's a joke. That's a total joke. And dropping RPMs
F1
at the end of the straight.
Sir. It is F1 Manager, the video game. That's what they're going to be doing, is managing batteries. If you haven't seen Max Verstappen, probably gave the most scathing remarks of any driver.
Mm-hmm. Fernando Alonso was ripping it totally. He was pissed as hell. Pissed as hell.
Oh, so Aston Martin kind of looks like potentially the worst team on the grid right now.
Could be.
I know it's early, but they did spend a lot of money in personnel with Newey and just upgrades and facilities and everything else. They spent a lot of money. And to be probably early, we're really, really, really early, but to be looking like the back of the pack team is not great. All right, so we talked about Ferrari. Hang on.
That's how things have flipped between the first two, between the two tests. You coming out of Barcelona, Aston Martin showed up late, but all the teams were all freaking out. If you read anything that came out after that, they're all freaking out that Newey nailed it. The car's going to be fantastic. It's going to be out of control on the rails. You get to test 2 here in Bahrain, and it looks like a total mess. I don't know. Fernando Alonso said he doesn't think it's the aerodynamics or anything like that. The car that Newey designed, a lot has to do with the power plant. And Aston Martin is now with Honda, so it's the Honda power plants. But I think it's a lot has to do with just the way the battery management is. And it's going to be a lot with that. These guys are... Fernando Alonso's been racing since the early 2000s in a Formula One car. Totally different cars, so he can compare through the ages or the changes that have gone and happened.
The guy was karting probably the late 80s, early 90s.
Early 90s, yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So as far as anyone on the grid, or as far as anyone with true driving experience between him and you want to say Lewis, you have some massive experience
Valtteri Bottas has been around a long time too.
But they have also experienced and are experiencing 2 really different sides of this 2026 season. Again, super early, so really hard to tell. Possum. Some teams have been already accused of playing possum this first weekend, specifically Mercedes. What are your thoughts on the possum playing? And is it just all game, man? And these cars and these teams kind of know what their cars are going to bring and where the upgrades need to be and where the concerns need to be. Is this more just about the entertainment value of it because these guys are privately testing anyway?
Well, they can only do sim testing outside of the tracks right now. You're not allowed to do any extra testing by Formula One rules. But Mercedes is known to sandbag it. The last number of years, it's always been Merc is sandbagging, and then they show up and the car's way better than what it is. I mean, I think everybody's still learning, to be honest. Nobody's got nobody's been putting the cars in, full anger mode right now. Teams are still feeling out what the heck's going to be happening with the power plants, to be honest, and getting around and managing the battery and all that right now. I think the drivers are just starting to get accustomed to it. They're just putting in laps to make sure that it's reliable, but I think changes are going to have to be made. Like I said earlier, something's going to have to be done, or the battery thing's going to be a joke. You can't have a Formula One car dropping RPM. I mean, the other thing, too, have you seen the starts? Have you seen the starts?
Oh, you got it's like the 7 second.
No, it's like 10 to 15 seconds. You're going to be like flooring the thing to get the turbo running right for a start. Like it's kind of a, pardon my French, it's kind of a shit show right now.
Listen, you don't have
And
to
I'm
pardon
not
anything.
surprised on why you haven't, got more than, what is it? F1 TV is basically, live footage. I think you got like an hour or so of like what's going on here at Bahrain each day. So I mean, they're not even giving you full access to it because they know it's a shit show right now.
Well, yeah, and again, if the drivers are not shy, the people who are, listen, as the old saying goes, never trust someone whose paycheck depends on the words coming out of their mouth, right? And Max Verstappen, clearly, the words coming out of his mouth and his paycheck are often intertwined, but he is not afraid to say it. And as you mentioned, Fernando Alonso is not afraid to say it. And some of the younger drivers aren't going to say anything because they're just
right.
Again, their paycheck depends on them shutting their mouths right now. And they're doing what F1 wants. But you have two world champions. I haven't heard anything about Lewis Hamilton saying anything yet. Maybe because Ferrari's the car's feeling better. But this is going to be a different style of driving, as it seems. Where this is going to be about battery management, and this is a totally different skill set as it could be, right? Yeah. And a lot of the criticism going around is that this is going to be. It's not a big deal. Like, your skill set is so fine-tuned to drive one of these vehicles that any adjustment completely throw it off and can completely put 2026 in total flex where anyone can win it this year. Any other thoughts about our front? We didn't even mention McLaren, or barely mention McLaren. But as far as McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, front of the pack, any other thoughts before we move to our mid-pack teams here?
Not really. I mean, we'll see what things go in the next test. But most of the top teams are pretty close right now. But like I said, nobody's in full madness modes. I don't even know if maybe this is full madness. Maybe this is full mode right now with the battery situation. Maybe this is full beans. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens next week.
Everyone could be playing possum right now, especially in the front. But it seems to be that the four teams as well. I don't think there's any other team up there outside of Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren and Red Bull that are going to be competing for either a driver's championship and or a constructor. This year. But really, I think for those four teams, it's wide open. That gives you 8 drivers. That it's totally wide open, and I'll throw Isaac Hadjar in there as well. He might shock the world. You wouldn't say the same about Oscar Piastri a couple years ago, that he could have shocked the world. So I'm looking at 4 teams and 8 drivers that I wouldn't be surprised if any of those 8 drivers wins, or any of those 4 teams takes home the constructors this season. Maybe Isaac Hadjar might be a little shocking there, but.
Hey, if he adjusts better to using the battery and things than everybody else, then why the hell not? Who the heck knows?
But as we finish the front of the pack, I do have to mention, as we all found out last week at the Super Bowl, the most controversial Super Bowl, at least as far as the halftime was concerned. But I didn't care about that. I cared more about that. Your boy Charles Leclerc is a Pokémon fan, so let's get that one out of the way, as nobody mentioned that. I didn't see anyone talk about that after the Super Bowl. Maybe the halftime show is an F1 smokescreen to keep our minds off of the Charles Leclerc Pokemon fetish. But I will digress, as let's move to the mid-pack teams. Specifically, let's talk about Alpine, Haas, and really, let's start there, because those teams, and let's throw Williams in there as well, because Haas, as you know, if you don't know, if you're first time listening to the show, Haas is my freaking team. Those are my boys, and it's been a lot of disappointment, especially down the stretch last year. We had a shot at 7th last year, and just couldn't put it together down the stretch there. But I'm gonna get greedy as F this year, and I'm pulling for a 5th this year. But before we get too much into it, as Haas did look pretty good, 8th and 9th as far as Bearman and Ocon are concerned. Again, early, so it's hard to tell what's going on there. But Williams was pretty persona non grata in Barcelona. Came back and ran the most laps, I believe, at Bahrain. And then you got Alpine, who definitely looks improved from last year. How you feel about those 3 mid-packers? And maybe I'm missing anyone else that might be in the mid-pack there, in your mind.
I mean, you could probably. The only team that's not going to be even the mid-pack will probably be Cadillac this year because they're brand new team, slowest so far. They're going to be at the back. You know, they're even saying if we get a couple points, that would be fantastic. But they're not even. It's about building for the future for them, pretty much. So I would throw probably Audi in there since it's, after taking over for Sauber. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, Alpine definitely looks better. They definitely have better power plant with going with the Mercedes this year, transferring over. They got a little different design with the rear wing than everybody else has, which is more looking like it's to be more stability for under braking and things like that compared to the other teams. So we'll see. I mean, Haas doesn't look bad with the Ferrari power plant, which looks pretty darn reliable. Definitely looking improved, but until we all show up at Melbourne and everything's it's time to go, and we'll see where things shake out. But it's going to be a mixed bag. It's going to be the first. I don't even think 3 races, or it might be 5 or 6 races till teams figure out what the really heck is going on with the car. With the new regs and with the engines and everything else, to be honest. So, I mean, we'll see. But so there could be some surprises this year with some of those mid-team or mid-pack teams being higher up than you could anticipate. I mean, we'll all see how things really shake out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are only 3 weeks away here. So we got another show coming up next week, and I believe the March 1st, end of February show, week before the season begins, we will bring you all of our predictions. I mean, this is straight gambling. This is just straight throwing your money in the fire this year, because who the heck knows? Like I said, and as you just mentioned, I said you're not going to know anything until after the first 3 races. You said after the first 5 races. I might be more on your side now after seeing Bahrain. We'll see what happens next weekend, and we'll probably bring you a show probably Sunday evening in 2 weeks, or Sunday in 2 weeks, I apologize, after all the smoke clears and we get a somewhat handling on the 2026 season. Final thoughts, sir, before we close it up for the week.
I just hope changes are made here for the battery's sake and to make this actually entertaining and not Formula E on steroids. And put some, hopefully find a way to give the drivers back more so they can show off their skills, because the cars are definitely smaller and a little bit more nimble than they have been with the prior age of the car. So that is something nice to see. But the engine thing and the power plant issue is kind of a joke at the moment. And
hey, listen, when we had the awesome opportunity last year to speak with author Kevin Eason, one of the things he mentioned was waking up at Indy and just hearing the roar of the engines from 2 miles away from the track. And that is just part of this extravaganza. And that's the reason, that's the reason why you only have the event once a year in a city, right? It's obnoxious. It brings huge crowds. It's loud. And it's 3 days, 5 days for your city in lockdown in a year. So this is not a weekly event. This is not like the NFL or English Premier League or the World Cup, which will be going on down the block from me over in New York City in no time. $700 a night for the Motel 6, by the way, coming up in June. So if you're staying around here, book your hotel soon, or maybe get a tent on the side of the road. All right, we will be back next week with more updates as we got some more testing going on, and then 2 weeks for the season preview, and 3 weeks, it's fucking go time, baby. Say what you got to say, brother.
Well, as always, thanks for listening. Hit that subscribe and like button if you made it this far anyway, and you haven't yet. Helps out the channel. Probably should have said that early in the show.
Probably, since 60% of you who watch the show and listen regularly are not subscribers. So for the 60% of people that watch all the way through that have not subscribed, thank you for the many, many people who have. But it'd be nice to get a bump in subscriptionship here for those who are already listening anyway. So jump on there and let's get ready for a super fun, wild 2026 season.
And as always, my friends, stay medicated.
Peace.